Welcome to the video podcast of Downloading God, where we create heaven on earth by shining light on the darkness. Today is my first video episode of Downloading God, and I figured it was fitting to start with the basics. We are going to take you on a spiritual journey, so sit back, relax, and I hope you enjoy the show. Chi energy is where it all begins. This is God's breath. It is a pure form of energy until it is infected in lower forms of thoughts and actions or beliefs, or until it's transformed into a higher consciousness through prayer, thoughts, and actions. Some people use this chi to cast spells as they infuse it with their incantations, images, and desires. We will discuss how to counter that later on. Chi energy is how karma works. This works through the energy of intentions, as this is where the light of truth resides. This is God's justice system. In traditional Chinese culture, qi, chi, or prana is believed to be a vital force forming any part of living entity. It literally means vapor, air, or breath. The word qi is often translated as vital energy, vital force, material energy, or simply as energy. Airwaves are the radio frequencies used for broadcasting. Think about how this is broken down. Air, then waves, and think about the very definition of chi. This is a thought bubble, and its wavelengths of thoughts fill this chi energy up with images, sounds, and emotions, and is seen much like a pebble in the pond of consciousness. The more that you think about the same thoughts, you build upon this chi energy, and it attracts and collects the same wavelengths of thoughts. Don't download unauthorized thoughts into your emotional systems. They can lead to thought prisons where it's much harder to change and get out. This is a decision bubble and its wavelengths. It will have all the weighing of options and images that went into this choice. This will make it manifest much faster as the wavelengths collect the chi. It is seen like a boulder as ripples in the pond of consciousness. Free will is the driving force behind the decision, as this is where your karma is held, your spiritual cycles, and your true spiritual growth. If you're praying for someone, you will send this downloaded light directly to them at the speed of light. This energy brings their vibrations up, allowing their spirit guides to guide them more clearly. This is like a spiritual protective shield around them. The more people pray, the larger the swells of chi will be. From the original sin of disobeying God, this world split into two, creating duality. We fell from grace. The only way to bring this world's light back into the heavenly realms is by changing these negative and evil impulses from this matrix by downloading God in various forms of light, thus co-creating with our Father. I believe everybody has experienced karmic debris at some point in their life. This means that you have passed a lot of tests, mainly reside in your higher self emotions, but decided to hang out with those souls who exist primarily in their lower self and are governed by those impulses. If they have broken into a car or house, expect that some of your valuables might be taken, as you are sinking your vibration down to theirs and will receive their karmic debris. It is much easier for you to sync your level to their vibration than it is for theirs to come up. Your spirit guides can influence you much easier when you shine with the light of love. This is the connection to the core light of God within you, your self-love. You begin to shine really bright so they can match up frequencies much easier with yours as they come from the light of heaven. They will help you overcome past cycles and present lessons. When you vibrate in the lower self emotions, you will be stuck in their thought prisons and you will be governed by those impulses. You will be influenced by darker beings who will use you and feed off your light, as well as those around you. Your spirit guide will always try and break through, but it's your free will that allows their voice of guidance in. You must try to vibrate high enough. Alcohol is said to have come from the Arabic term alcohol or al-ghul, which means body-eating spirit. This is why they call it spirits. Alcohol lowers your vibrations, exposing your spirit to the darker impulses of thoughts, emotions, and evil beings. If your thoughts are repetitive in these frequencies, you will become stuck in these prisons, making you behave contrary to your sober mind. Remember, chi energy is where it all begins. It's also known as breath, and it moves just like air. This is the view of an apartment energy. Each apartment has its own vibrations that swell this chi up. This moves from one apartment to another, infecting and affecting their moods and relationships. This is another form of Armageddon. And just like on a cloudy day where it blocks out the sun, this dark collected filled chi also blocks out the rays of God's light. This is what neighborhood chi looks like. If the majority of the neighborhood was negative, then the negative homes will infect the loving homes, creating darkness. You can see some forms of that buildup in the chi as dark energy clouds. This can be seen as moving smoke or cloudy energy that is filled with anger, negative emotions, and vibrations that will float next door and infect their home after home after home. If your house is on a vortex and is infected with evil, it will wobble, spin backwards, and attract with great force, all like infected chi energy and evil beings. This house is filled with heavy forms of energy. They send out impulses to whomever enters its field. If you don't know your own thoughts and moral light, then you will fall victim to its impulses, adding to the collective light of evil. This chi will attract all others, infect, and embed. This is what chi spiritual warfare looks like. The two cities' energies will be in conflict. If you've ever been from either a prosperous part of the city or the bad area of town, you will have felt this energy shift and your mood will reflect it. These energies not only affect your spirit, but all of God's creation. You can see this infection through cities like Chicago, as it has always been riddled with gang violence like Al Capone, to the modern day infection of gang violence. Now, except for it's gotten worse because of this diseased energy of chi. This is God's view. There is a reason why I call this God's view and will testify about this divine experience at a later time. As I have explained the chi energy from thought to affected neighborhoods, now you can see the collective consciousness as a whole. This is God's view, the whole view. As you can see, this is a fallen perpetual world. There is some good, but majority of it is evil. And because we absorb all this evil in the collective airwaves every day, we add to that collective consciousness of evil. The split in consciousness is happening again, except for this time we're going from fallen back into grace. The next part, we will show you how to achieve higher consciousness through the pathway light of honesty and forgiveness, thus co-creating with God by downloading heaven's various frequencies and changing the impulses of this fallen world. This will also change the city's vibration to a healthy commerce, and they will come together in adversity. Negative thoughts are like spiritual cancer. They spread like this disease and can kill you because the flow of energy has become stagnant. Your body is 3/4 of water, and what happens to stagnant water? It becomes diseased. This is karma's ripple effect from the light of truth. This is where the intentions to your actions are held. This is where you're accountable to the cause and effect. This is what it means an eye for an eye. In order to change this matrix back into the heavenly realms, we need to use heavenly energies we download from heaven, such as empathy. This is where we learn from our mistakes, as well as our karmic cycles. Karma is fate following the effect from the cause. Self-esteem is like the steam that comes from the boiling water, except for this is steam that comes from self-love. When you nurture yourself with honesty and forgiveness, your other systems will be born as a result of the self-evaluation. This is the first step to higher consciousness, is through self-evaluation. Self-love is the core connection to God, the part of you made in His image. This consciousness moves and expands with every honest connection. It comes alive and other systems are now born. The glow from the birth of all of these nurture systems will be your self-confidence. This is your bar of tolerance. These are the filtering systems. One is a healthy one and the other one is diseased. This is what a healthy filtering system looks like once you have worked on all your systems to create your bar of tolerance. The combined frequencies of these systems will prevent lower forms of thoughts, actions, and circumstances in your vibration. All your systems will be stored here: your moral compass, your belief system, and your personal hygiene. This is what your heart chakra looks like when you don't work on your self love and your other systems that would have been born due to this process. You will be governed by your ego, lacking morality, humanity, and connection to God. These diseased energies will be absorbed into all three bodies: your physical, mental, and spiritual. Here are some self love exercises that you can do. Just take a moment and look these over. I'm going to tell you how God puts us in the right place for the right time for the right people. So when I was working at a bar years ago, I was getting out about 2 o'clock in the morning, closing hour. I was going down. I usually take different ways going home. In this particular way, I was taking pretty much a straight shot. And this particular part of the highway was pretty dark. And all I seen was just this pink coat as I passed it. So I knew it was a female. And just at the corner was a cop who had his lights on, so I thought he was making her walk, and it was pretty cold out. So I pulled over in the gas station, and I started talking to God. I'm like, should I go after her? It's pretty cold. Just give her a ride, wherever she needs to go. And something said, you need to go after her. So I turned around, and I went after her. Now I got up beside her, and it's still really dark. I couldn't tell, how old she was or anything. And I just rolled down the window and I said, it's pretty cold, would you like a ride? There's nobody here but me, and I was driving a van at the time. And she hesitated and then decided to get in my vehicle. Well, then I realized how old she was. And I turned to her and I said, how old are you? And she was 13 years old at the time. And it's like 2 in the morning, past 2 in the morning, might even be closer to 3. And then I said to her, well, where are you going? So she was running away from home, going to North Carolina, out of all places. I live in Michigan. So of course, now I'm in a dilemma. What do I do with this runaway young girl? I can't let her be, it's 3 in the morning. So I decided to go and talk to her and kind of pick her brain and see what was going on in her life where she, would want to run away from home. So I spent about an hour or so with her, and kind of interrogating her a little bit, asking her questions, evaluating how she looked and how she was dressed, and, she was well taken care of. There was no reason for it. It's not like she was being abused or anything like that. So I gave her a choice. I said, listen, I can't have you be on the news tomorrow knowing I had you in my vehicle and I could have stopped you from being a missing child. So you have 2 options. I can take you home, but I have to make sure your parents know, so I have to, wait there, or I can take you to the police station. The choice is yours. So of course she chose to go home. And I'm talking to her all the way there, and I said, well, when's your birthday? Her birthday happened to be November 8th, which is a day before my birthday. And I knew then, of course, again, that this was God speaking. So I gave her my business card, and I said, listen, if there's any time that you would like to speak to anybody about anything, call me, and I will be there. And lo and behold, this young woman did. She ended up being in my son's class and repeatedly told him how I saved her life, which was very neat. And she also gave me a call when she needed to, and I was able to advise her. But what a neat story to have and be a part of somebody else's life lesson. So you never know. You got to listen to that inner voice. When it says to do something, do it. There is another time where I didn't, and I wish I would have, and I did get confirmation to what I was hearing. So that being said, God bless you, and I will see you next time. This game will help you with subtle information and will sharpen your intuition. If you cheat, you only cheat yourself, as the first step in spiritual evolution is honesty with self. I will choose a color and send it to you and reveal it at the end of the episode. 1 point for every correct answer. Get to 5 points, move on to episode 3, and it will get harder. Now I'm going to send you a shape. Use your first feeling as to what you may think that is, and give yourself another point. Good luck! The power of belief is so powerful that God has created many belief systems around this power. As you can see by this chart, this is God's various forms of light that we download and pass on through circumstances and these belief systems. Some people need dogmatic religions to gently elevate them out of this toxic reality into lower forms of God's light. The key word in superstition's definition is belief. The power behind all superstitions is the power of belief, consciousness. With some of these superstitions, there's a buildup in the chi energy from generational belief. The power of belief is so powerful that 50% of doctors prescribe placebos. There was a study done out of Queen's University in Canada that said the average person has around 6,200 thoughts minimum a day, and 80% were negative and 95% were repetitive. These are thought prisons that keep you stuck in lower self emotions. They are accompanied with their own lying voices. The thought process is where you weed your garden. If you guess circle, give yourself a point. If you guessed brown, give yourself another point. This is the direction of the energy flow in the human body. Your left is receiving and your right is sending. When in prayer, you put both hands together to receive and send messages. Most only send. When you absorb energy all day long, it affects your mood and spirit. These are the energies that we need to change as energy changes form and returns back to us. Instead of changing them, your chakras will become stagnant energy, and your energy centers will spin backwards, stealing all energy meant for crucial physical parts, causing ailments. This is where disease starts. With so many movies and TV shows depicting commercialized witchcraft, it has spread to too many souls who think now they know what they are doing because they have read a book or bought a tarot deck. So they call themselves witches. Spells directly interfere with free will and you steal God's glory. There are 3 things you must do to come up into the higher frequencies in order to properly connect to read for someone without opening them up as well as yourself to evil entities. So, now I'm going to tell you about the dream that I had and show you my Google searches 2 days before it had happened. Um, the first thing that I remember, it was a bright blue day out, and we were walking into this old country door, the kind that slammed when you shut it, and I knew that there was children that was already in there, and I knew they were going to be sodomized, and I knew I was going to fight. I wasn't going to have it. So I looked around, and I seen there was a house that was kind of, off to the side to the left. There was a clothesline I remember being in between, and I just ran for it. So I got to the back door, and there was a young girl there, about, 18 years old. Again, another country door. Well, there was a gun on the counter, and when she saw me, she turned her back. So I ran after that gun, ran inside into another room inside the house, trying to figure out where I was at. So in this room was just a bed and a TV, and I felt like I was in 2 places at once. And as you can see, they had dual citizenship in their story here. So I woke up, I was trying to watch a weather channel, see where I was at, but I ended up waking up and going to the bathroom, come back and went right back where I left off in the dream. But now there's another woman there, and I feel like she had kidnapped that young girl that was at the back door like 10 years ago and was using her as a sex slave. And So anyway, she had a gun underneath her leg, and in my dream, in this particular dream, I was playing the part of me. It was totally my personality, and I, go to the gun range a lot. I grew up with 7 brothers, profound user and weapons like that. So, anyways, I snatched that gun out from underneath her leg, so now I had 2 guns in my possession. And I knew she was waiting for the cartel to show up, just kind of buying some time. So I woke up again, kind of going, wow, what a weird dream. I'm thinking, went right back to sleep right where I left off. Now the cartel is there. And I remember them all sitting on the couch, and I remember just yelling at them, "You're all evil. I know about you. You're evil. I know where I'm going when I die. I'm not afraid to die. I know what I'm doing. I will kill all of you," is what I was telling them in my dream. Because I'm really not. I'm a servant of the Lord, so I'm not afraid. So anyways, like I said, I was being myself in this dream. So this young guy, and he was claiming to work for the government, and I felt that he did, but I also felt that he was a bad guy, and he was trying to tell me, "Oh, I'm undercover, and I'm going to try to get you out," and I called him out on it as BS, and he said, "I want a car here now, I want them kids out now," and, so I was trying to keep my back against the wall so that they couldn't sneak up behind me. Well, there was a closet next to me in the dream. Well, one of them had snuck into the closet, and I caught him, and I had shot him in the stomach in my dream. So when I woke up, I told my husband, and immediately went downstairs, started, Google searching, as you can see, at 7:30 in the morning on November 3rd. I was Google searching what I had dreamt, and I just didn't know where I was at because of the biolocation feeling that I had. So anyways, you can see the similarities. Our names are spelled identical, D-A-W-N-A, which is unusual. The other girl's name is Christine, which is my middle name, spelled differently. One of them has a son named Devin, which I also have a son named Devin. And the biolocation, they have dual citizenship. They were part of the NXIVM sex trafficking from that article, from what it says there. So there was a lot of similarities between the dream I had. And remember, I Google searched it 2 days before it reached news. And I'm telling you this because, not to toot my own horns by any means, but it was profound, and it was such a God-given gift, so I can show you the prophecy and how it works. You will always get confirmation as well when you get prophecy. But anyways, that's it for now. Until next time, God bless. I had the feeling to take a couple of pictures of my cats and caught a downloading process going on. Spirits send different levels of God's energy to your pets, so when you pet them, you absorb God in gentle waves of His love. In this picture, you can see both of them are in complete white light, and his face is in my phone showing no flash, only his face. A cat's purr falls between 25 and 140 hertz. This is known to help heal blood pressure and bone health. In ancient Egypt, black cats were worshipped as goddesses. They were protectors of women, households, and fertility. They were known for keeping evil spirits away. Not to sound like Bob Barker, but spay it and neuter your animals. This is the best place to take your pet. They worked with me, with my mama kitty who keeps bringing her dang kitties down to my house. The vet took her lunch break to fix these kittens. They could always use your love and donations. If you want, you can send them money or order cat food or dog food or anything you want from Chewy and just send it directly to them. Many thanks and God bless. We're going to end the podcast with a prayer. Father in heaven, we ask that you send your army of angels to bind all evil from doing harm to your children. In Jesus' name, amen. Well, that concludes the first video episode of Downloading God. I hope you like it. If you'd like to support what we do here, you can sponsor, subscribe, like, share, or go to the Anchor app and check out the episodes we've already done there. If you would like a reading done, I am accepting appointments. Just go on to Downloading God on Facebook or Christy Corpus. May heaven